$10,000 worth of comic books for $200. Is this a come up to be proud of, or is there an ethical line that was just crossed? That's what we're going to be talking about today, guys. Chris with Journos Comics and Pop Culture. Before we get into the video, folks, if it's your first time checking out the channel, please take some time to subscribe and check out all the awesome links below, including the links to my awesome local shop, A1 Comics. It is A1 Wednesday, and A1 Comics has live sales every Wednesday evening, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. They also go live on IG with sales on Friday at the same time, 5 p.m. Pacific. They are having an awesome live sale this Friday that I have to tell you about quickly. They are putting up for sale blue chip keys at lower than fair market value. We're talking about Avengers #1s, Fantastic Four, 48s, and giant size X-Men #1s, and so many more. So you all do not want to miss out on Friday's live sale for A1 Comics on Instagram. Their information is below, folks. You can follow them at A1 Comics on Instagram. You can also check out their website, a-1comics.com. All right, let's get into the topic of discussion, folks. Is it ethical? Is it just to pay a small amount of money for a large valued collection of comic books? So when we talk about $10,000 for $200, we're just throwing random numbers out there, folks. Whether it's 10,000 books for a couple hundred books, or maybe it's $5,000 worth of books for $1,000. Is it ethical to come up on a large value for so little? This is something that I've addressed in the past before on my channel, and there's no right or wrong or cut and dry answer, because it all depends on the situation, and we're going to break down what those situations look like and what you all should do if you're ever in the situation as a buyer or a purchaser to make sure you are being ethical if you come across a collection. The first thing that I recommend doing, and that I have done in the past, although I have not been diligently seeking out collection buyings, I did buy a nice small little collection. I believe, was that earlier this year or sometime last year? I forget now. The thing that you want to do is be very transparent. All right. So if you're out to buy a collection in bulk, you need to let folks know, I'm buying in bulk, first and foremost. Secondly, why are you buying? If you are a reseller of any type, I would be completely transparent and state that up front right away. I am a reseller, and I'm interested in only buying in bulk. I've even said this in the past too for myself. I'm not looking to pay fair market value, to be honest. I could go to a comic book shop and pay fair market value for books. So I'm definitely looking to, I'm a reseller. I'm looking to get something that I can make a profit off of. Be transparent. Another thing that you should do is ask the right questions. All right. Why are you selling these comic books? So whether you're communicating with someone online, maybe they're posting on Facebook Marketplace, maybe they're posting on Craigslist, or you're going to a garage sale or estate sale, ask them, hey, what are you selling this for? And what are you looking to get for it? Come straight out. What are you looking to get for it? That right there is going to allow the transparency to really settle in the foundation of the transaction that could occur here. If they respond with, well, they were my dad's or a parent, and I'm just trying to get them off my hands, or they were my son's when he was a kid and he's off to college and he's just said sell them, I don't care. And or they may say, well, I really didn't want to part with them, but my grandfather is in the hospital and he's having kidney failure, and we don't have good insurance, and we're trying to raise money to pay to save his life or something like that. These are all things that are going to set the tone, because for me, most people that have a collection, they may not know about comic books, but they know what they want to do with those comic books. They know what they want to do with the comic books. We live in a day and age where the average Joe or the average Jane knows to some extent that comic books can or might be worth some type of money. They know that they're collectible. Maybe they know nothing else. Maybe they hardly even know who Spider-Man and Superman are. The majority of people know that, well, they're a collectible. So when you get a person selling them in a garage sale or wanting to sell them for cheap, most likely they want to sell it for cheap because they want to get it off their hands. Because go back to videos that I've made in the past, and this is what I would recommend communicating to a seller if you're right there. Once you know why they're selling them or what they're looking to get for them, you can even tell them, give them tips like I do in my videos. If you want to make more money, if your intentions are to maximize your profits or your revenue from selling these comic books, selling them in bulk is not the best option. The more time that you put into selling a comic book collection, the more money you can get out of it. So, seller, are you wanting to price all these books out individually? Or are you wanting to see if maybe you can sell some in bulk, but maybe there's some big dollar books that are in there? I recommend you doing your research. How do they do the research? I always give people tips. Go online, go check eBay, check Cover Price, all these different websites. I will tell people that straight up. Once all of this is out there, then you don't have to play ethics police in making a deal, even if that price for that deal is like $200 for 10K worth of books. So that comes down to giving the seller options. You're giving them options to be able to research, take the time, price out their books. Or you could say, if you're wanting to sell them in bulk, again, you go back to why you're buying. I'm not looking to pay fair market value, but I can give you a competitive price. And then you can even tell them this, and this isn't a lie. If you take these books in this collection over to a comic book store, they're probably going to give you a dime to the dollar of fair market value. You know, in this day and age and in this market, if you're looking at like Blue Chip Keys or something like that, that can be a different story. But even books that, you know, comic book stores sell for $5, $10, maybe $15, you know, they're paying cents to the dollar, all right, for the most part. After you solidify some foundation, you understand why they're selling, maybe you understand what they want out of the collection, that I'm just trying to get it off my hands. I don't have the time to price everything out. I don't even care about that. I just want to make sure I get a decent amount of money in my pocket. Maybe they'll say, I just wanted to go to somebody, to a home that'll enjoy them or whatever. If it's going to a comic book store, then you're helping at local LCS, and those comics are going to be distributed to collectors, right? They're going to buy them and keep them in their collection and cherish them, right? So once all that groundwork is laid, another thing that you could do is telling them at that point what works for you. And this, you're kind of making a full circle here and saying, if you're a reseller, I would say this, well, to be honest, as a reseller, I need to make a profit off of these. This X amount right here is what's going to work for me. All of this is absolutely fair. The only time it becomes unethical, like if I asked all these questions and my language was to swindle, that's unethical. If I pulled out a Giant Size X-Men #1 and I said, yeah, this isn't worth much, if I was going through their collection, or if I was to sit and tell them, yeah, you don't have much of value here, that's unethical. If you go through it and say, you got some decent value here, you got a couple of bigger books, but this is what's going to work for me. That's where you eliminate this fine line of what's ethical or not. Another thing that I just can never do is if I asked the questions and somebody told me why they were selling their collection, and it was because they needed, like, somebody was seriously ill or there was a death in the family or something like that, and they were like, I can't afford my bills, or I'm gonna get kicked out of my home and I need to sell some comics, came on hard times, I'm trying to get as much money as I can. That's where I might even take the, if I have the money, but even if I didn't have the money, I might say, look, I don't have the money for this, but I'm going to tell you right now, maybe if you have the time, sell them on eBay, individually, and I'll take notes for them, coverprice.com, look at eBay sold, and I'll tell them how to bring up my phone and show them how to look eBay sold, and I'll say, good luck to you, something like that. Or the only way is if they were in that situation and they needed money fast, and I would say, well, I only have a couple $100s to spend. You got some key. Maybe I wouldn't even think about buying the key books, and I tell them these are keys. You're probably going to want to maximize profit off of that. But maybe they had just some random like Bronze Age stuff or something that could be sold at a decent higher value. But say maybe what can you give me for $200 out of these books or whatever, and maybe work something like that if they were in need of money like ASAP. So again, it is a fair game in the free market, folks. Just because you paid $200 for $10,000 worth of books doesn't mean you are stealing from them or it was unethical, as long as you handle business and conduct yourself in the proper manner. Because I'm going to end on this note. I'm going to repeat. Most people that are selling comic book collections in bulk, they might not know exactly what they have. They might not know much about comic books, but they know when they want to get it off their hands, and they're not worried about maximizing their profits. They are just looking to get some type of quick cash and get all that, all those boxes and all those books off their hands. That happens quite often. I actually recently was just at a comic book store, and I know that this comic book store actually pays decent compared to market going rate. And this guy had keys. He had a lot of just Silver Age and Bronze Age stuff. And I'm looking and I'm like thinking like, buddy, like you can go on Facebook Marketplace and eBay and probably maximize your revenue, because all comic book stores absolutely have to make a profit. But I know that this guy, first off, he knew what he had. This was a collector that knew what he had, but I know he wanted to get his books off, and he knew what he was getting into bringing it to a comic book store. Not everybody is out there willing to take the time and put in the effort to get fair market value or close to fair market value for their collections, and sometimes they just want it gone, and that is just a simple fact of the matter, folks. So that's my video for today, everyone. Thank you all for watching. Let me know what your thoughts are on this subject in the comments below. Let me know if you all have been in a situation where you were able to either come up on a collection for really cheap and it was valued at much more than what you paid, or if you were ever in a situation where you felt obligated to be ethical and tell the seller what they had. Let me know in the comments. And again, folks, A1 Comics, their information is below. Live sale tonight, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. And again, Friday night on Instagram, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. You're going to have an opportunity to pick up some hot blue chip keys for under fair market value at some discounted prices. Don't miss out. Thank you all so much for watching. Be well, and until next time.